Deep within the endless stretch of the African jungle, where golden sunlight danced through a sea of green, a village lay hidden beneath the mighty branches of an ancient baobab tree. The people of the village revered this towering giant, for it had stood there for generations, watching over them like a silent guardian. Its roots dug deep into the earth, older than any living soul, and its trunk was so wide that it would take a dozen men holding hands to encircle it. But while the baobab offered shade and shelter during the scorching heat of the day, by night it became something else entirely. It was no ordinary tree. It was a portal between worlds, a place where the spirits of the past roamed freely under the moonlight. The elders whispered of a time long ago when the tree had been cursed. They warned that on nights when the full moon bathed the land in silver light, the baobab's shadows would stir, crawling like living things across the village, seeking something or someone. Some believed these shadows were the restless souls of ancestors, watching over their descendants, but others feared them, believing they were the spirits of those who had met tragic ends, doomed to wander between life and death. And there was one shadow, darker and more terrifying than all the rest. Many generations ago, there lived a man named Kaiwo, a revered seer and healer. He was a man of wisdom, known for his deep understanding of nature's secrets. But wisdom was not enough for him. He was haunted by a single, consuming desire, the pursuit of immortality. He could not accept the fate of all living things, to wither and return to the earth. Kaiwo's search for eternal life led him down a dangerous path. He began to practice forbidden rituals, calling upon spirits that should never be disturbed. He gathered rare herbs and whispered incantations in the dead of night, offering sacrifices to forces he did not fully understand. But the spirits of the jungle were not easily fooled. The gods, angered by his defiance, unleashed their wrath upon him. One fateful night, as he stood beneath the baobab, pleading for more time, a great wind roared through the village, shaking the earth. The sky darkened and the air grew heavy. Then, from the depths of the baobab's shadow, something reached out. Before he could flee, the darkness swallowed him whole. His screams echoed through the trees but faded into silence. When the villagers arrived, he was gone. All that remained was his shadow, stretched unnaturally long beneath the baobab. From that night on, his curse was sealed. Kaiwo had become one with the shadows, but the punishment was not his alone. The curse extended to anyone who dared step too close to the baobab under the full moon's gaze. Those who ventured too near would find themselves lost in a world of whispers and flickering darkness, their souls claimed by the tree's eternal hunger. For generations, the villagers lived in fear of the cursed nights, retreating to their huts as soon as the sun dipped below the horizon. Parents warned their children never to go near the tree after dusk. And so, the baobab stood, its secrets locked away, its whispers carried by the wind. But there was one who refused to be ruled by fear. Her name was Nairi. A young woman with a spirit as fierce as the rising sun, Nairi was different from the others. She did not believe in hiding from the unknown. She had heard the stories all her life, but something deep within her told her there was more to the legend than fear and death. She believed that the truth had been lost over time, buried beneath generations of whispers and warnings. If Kaiwo's shadow still roamed, then perhaps he was waiting for someone to listen. Perhaps the curse was not unbreakable. And so, on the night of the full moon, Nayiri made her choice. As the village huddled inside, she took a torch and stepped into the night. Her heart pounded, but she kept moving forward, her bare feet silent against the earth. The jungle was eerily quiet. No crickets chirped. No wind rustled the leaves. It was as if the very air was holding its breath. As she reached the foot of the baobab, a chilling presence wrapped around her like an unseen force. Her torch flickered violently, and then she saw them. The shadows began to rise. At first they were mere wisps, shifting in the moonlight, but then they took shape, figures emerging from the darkness, their eyes hollow, their movements slow and ghostly, faces of the past, watching her, waiting. And then among them came the darkest shadow of all, a towering figure, its form flickering between human and something else, its eyes burning like embers. It moved toward her, silent and powerful. A voice, deep as thunder, filled the air. Who dares enter the realm of the forgotten? Nayiri's grip on the torch tightened, but she did not back away. She had come for answers, and she would not leave without them. I seek the truth, she declared. The shadow loomed closer. Now she could see it clearly. It was Kaiwo, but he was not a man. He was something caught between existence and oblivion. The truth is lost, he murmured, his voice heavy with sorrow. There is no salvation for me. But Nayiri refused to believe that. She took a deep breath, then lifted her head toward the sky and called out, "O great spirits of the jungle, hear me. This man has suffered long enough. His debt is paid. Let him be free." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the baobab trembled. The earth rumbled beneath her feet. A golden light erupted from the ground, consuming the shadows one by one. Kaiwo gasped. He looked down at his hands, now solid, real. A look of wonder crossed his face. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered, "You have broken the curse. You have freed me." And with that his body dissolved into the golden light. The darkness that had haunted the village for generations vanished in an instant. The baobab stood tall and silent, but now its presence was no longer menacing. It was peaceful. As Nayiri returned to the village, she carried with her a truth that had been forgotten. The terror had never been real. It had been a prison built by fear. From that day on, the baobab was no longer seen as a cursed place, but as a symbol of courage, truth, and the power of facing the unknown. And the shadows of the night never returned again.